There's a lot of things that I need to work on. Bad habits, health and fitness, basic economics, and pretty much anything they tried to teach us in high school. But most of all, time management. See, time is a fickle thing. The second you have it, by the time you realize it, the second's already passed and you're on to the next, and the time keeps ticking. 1 second turns into two, two into three, then four and five, and by the time you open up your eyes, 2 months have passed, and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, asking yourself, was it all worth it? Asking, where did all the time go? Then you start getting into specifics, like, what did I do with all the time? Was I responsible? Was I irresponsible? Did I still have time to be irresponsible? Did I spend my time wisely? And what even dictates whether or not your time was well spent? Is it what you did, where you were, or was it who you spent it with? That last one sat with me a little longer than the other questions seemed to. More seconds wasted, yeah, but the question hurt more than the others did. It was a question that warranted more time spent on it. I mean, time is supposed to heal all wounds, right?
Of course, we're gonna ruin it.
With the passage of time, it's only natural to meet strangers and any manner of people on your way to wherever your destination may be. You'll meet friends, inevitable family, the fellow weary traveler, and maybe even those you might end up to be considering your enemies. But depending on your journey, you might find it rare to see those who were there with you at the start of it. Every typical hero's journey, you might find that every hero has their own backstory. They have their own lore and their own reasons as to why they originally set out for an adventure. One of my favorite creators, Brennan Lee Mulligan, once said that in storytelling, there's a convenience to orphans. He goes on to talk about how in fantasy settings and epics, to make a hero an orphan is to rid them of connection, to create a character as an empty canvas so that the story may write itself upon the skin of our newfound protagonists and their seemingly whimsical naivety. The story just writes itself. Exploration, caution, danger, the joys of discovery, the seemingly fresh perspective of a life yet to be lived in. Yes, the hero will go through their own trials and tribulations, but to our hero, they face these perils head on as they are, not who they were. As the character they were written to be, the painting as the artist intended, the person their journey shaped them into. I, Jason, Jay, Jaso, Jaja, whatever name or incarnation I currently see myself as, do not have that luxury. I, a person of humble beginnings, yes, do not share in the same convenience that these heroes of legend and fantasy share amongst themselves. Rather than an empty canvas or an unused roll of film or a blank page, I have been both blessed and cursed with the strokes of an artist's brush, already having caressed the surface of my story. My hero's journey doesn't start with a call to action for a young, scrappy protagonist who chooses to make something of himself from nothing. My journey started midway through a life well lived, connections and grounding ties made, lore and inside jokes, laughs and lows, smiles and sorrows, banter and bruises, streaks of blood, sweat, and tears already stain the pages of which this story is to be written upon. I do not share in the convenience of an orphan in a hero's tale because I had to leave the loving arms of my family, the loud and joyful noise of my friends' living rooms, and the familiar streets that I called home. And yes, I can always just go home. All my friends are a call away as they were before, but unlike before, when I could just see them when I so pleased, or when I can see my cousins every other weekend, or be able to go home to the warmth of my family's love and a freshly cooked meal, I could barely afford 4 minutes with those that I cherish. and the time, though well spent, fell into my lap by mere happenstance. Although I've been told that I have an uncanny ability to make friends wherever I may be, it cannot be emphasized enough just how alone I truly feel. You can only meet so many new people before you realize that you're kind of craving the experience of meeting people you've already met and then doing it again and again. And before you know it, you've made a bit of a routine about seeing these people regularly. Consistency, commitment, and, well, relationships. Growth is sustained and bolstered by the experiences you share with others. Yes, growth is cultivated from within, but the nutrients used to grow are buried so deep within the soils of social interaction and watered by the flow of emotions from rivers of stories that form from the tears of joy and sorrow that you share with others, and bask in the sunlight of the warmth of people sharing the love that keeps them going, that you just can't get from a 2 hour flight to just another airport on a jump seat, or from the passing interaction with a few strangers at a bar. And you definitely can't get that from the 12 to 16 hours within the confines of a hotel on a layover. Yes, I'm outside, I'm doing things, meeting whoever, seeing as much as I can on these layovers, but to experience all of these wonderful places and rarely having someone to share that with, well, it's only nice in doses. For the most part, I'm doing these things on my lonesome. It's not that I don't know how to be alone, I definitely do. It's just now, unlike before, it's hard to have a choice in when I'm alone. Am I learning how to be self reliant? Yeah. Am I learning how to be okay with myself? Most definitely. But in learning how to be alone, it's getting harder and harder to learn how to put myself in situations where I can get to know anyone on more than just a surface level. And so the cycle repeats. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm depressed or that I'm not having a blast. I love where I'm at, and I love how much I'm learning about not just myself, but the world around me. It's nice to finally see myself in situations where I'm not the most comfortable. I'm alone in a city that can take me years to understand and get to know. I'm finding places to regular, people to meet that might become regular fixtures in my life. New favorite places, new aspirations, new styles to try, food to eat, and, well, I was gonna say new drinks to drink, but it's really still just matcha and coffee with the occasional beer. But I'm actually going out with the intention to record, on a constant hunt for cool places to shoot at, places to just sit down and read. I'm reading again. I'm writing again. I'm doing so many things now that I'm not comfortable at my home, in my room, and with my computer and all my games. And I already forgot what I told y'all or even said in my last little vlog thing, but I figured I should just clarify what exactly the purpose of this channel is and the future of the content that I might post on here would be. This isn't going to be some super thought out and meticulously planned out thing that I initially thought it would be. It isn't going to be a super cinematic reconstruction of what I see as my hero's journey. I think it's some sort of an excuse to just use my camera, maybe use my eye for the smaller or maybe even broader details of what my life is like now. I think this is going to be a mixture, or more like a morbid concoction of word vomit and cornea searing visuals that I think look and sound pretty. Just Another J is really just a concept, or an idea that gives me an avenue to journal, whilst also allowing me to indulge in the performative male aspirations that I, for some reason, cling to. As much as I want to be one of those people that feels super confident in setting up a camera and recording any and everything, learning how I am day by day and just figuring out what kind of person I am, I'm coming to the conclusion that I'm less of the loud and rambunctious or methodical and calculated content creators that I see. As much as I like to talk to a camera and do find myself comfortable in doing that, I guess I find more peace and clarity when I write down how I feel. Like, yeah, I can just talk through the things or speak about what exactly goes on in my mind, kind of doing what I usually do, but watching all the clips back in editing and seeing how much I cut out just because of the random breaks and long portions of silence, it doesn't feel natural. Well, none of this does. I guess that's because of how uncomfortable all of this really makes me. More than the vlogging stuff, but literally anything and everything in my life right now. It's kind of sad to say, but it's really just the fact that I've never been this alone before. So, those of you that know me, I'm the most talkative motherfucker in the world. Like, I'll find a way to make a conversation about nothing and fill the empty space like it's a bad thing for something to just be there, or I guess in this way, for something to not be there. But in being so isolated and spending so much time to myself, I guess I'm learning how to be okay with being with no one else but myself. I mean, here I am, writing this down on a laptop in the middle of one of the most beautiful parks in San Francisco. And as much as I feel like I should be writing all of this down, like literally and physically writing this down in a journal, my mind continues to race at a speed that my writing teacher in high school would worry about and my computer instructor would be more than proud of. I guess as much as I feel like I would thrive with a little less technology, I'm a little too Gen Z to allow myself to slow down. So I guess it's only natural that the speed of which I think matches the speed of which I can comfortably type. Maybe I should replace my laptop with something more akin to a typewriter, and maybe then I can be a little bit more performative than I am now. Maybe I call myself performative because, as much as it's cringe for me to claim that, or how much I truly despise how much that moniker tries to categorize and label me as something that I don't completely identify as, I do think the irony of me hating the performance while I sit here in a public park with a camera clearly pointed my way that I took a couple minutes to set up and try to get that right angle, listening to the same song on repeat through wired earbuds on a modded iPod that I paid too much for when I have AirPods and an active subscription to Spotify. Well, I think it's funny, and maybe it's the cringe that hits a little too close to home. Maybe I really enjoy the performance? I mean, I have to, right? Or do I just enjoy the apparent attention that I get from it? Do the things that I do even warrant enough attention for me to say that I enjoy attention? Do I care? I don't know. Clearly, I'm just doing these things because I have nothing better to do with my time. And I don't know about you, but it seems to me that I'm doing these things to make me feel like I'm being productive, when in reality, there's a ton of other things that I could be doing that can genuinely make me be a better person. Like, I could be at the gym, do laundry, break down the rotisserie chicken in my fridge so that when I'm hungry, I don't just DoorDash because I'm too lazy to break it down. Or I could work on a myriad of other projects that I've told myself and others that I'm currently working on. Or maybe I should just rename this series to Ramblings of a Madman. I don't know. All I know right now is that as much as I'm in debt and that the feelings of loneliness never seem to escape me, I'm in love with this place. And whether or not this place refers to the city of San Francisco or the mental fortress that I have built for myself out of bricks of insecurity and the pursuit of growth, I don't know. When I look up from this page, I see a city full of people like me. People just going about their day, trying to find some semblance of life through shared experience, or just the beauty of existing in a place at a time with whomever. Maybe I should read the book that I bought yesterday. Maybe I should write the book that I've been thinking about for years. Maybe I should finish other projects that I know realistically are never going to see the light of day except for when I mention it to strangers and people passing. Maybe I just sit here and watch the dogs play, the people play, this film that I get to call my life play. How much of life is lived watching it play out, and how much of life is lived actively being crafted scene by scene? How much of my life have I lived or have watched be lived? Shit, would I win any awards if my life were to be made a movie? maybe a Tony. Lord knows my budget isn't enough for a blockbuster to get an Oscar. But maybe I'm asking too many questions for a video on a social media platform that only 30 people are going to see in a country on the brink of war and collapse at every moment, on a planet in the middle of a system, in a galaxy floating about in a universe that is constantly expanding through forces that I or anyone on this mere speck of dust will never understand. Overall, there's just one question that I can answer. Am I happy? And with a multitude of answers, yes, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to be able to experience the things that I'm blessed to experience in a world that never fails to give me more questions to answer, with people whose mere existence bubble to the surface more questions. In a time so riddled with uncertainty, the only certainty is more questions. And I don't know if I'm trying to be poetic or if I'm genuinely insane, but I'm having a blast with my life right now. But my question is, are you?